Sometimes I think that the media is hard on Trump. Because I'll see shit that they get on him about that doesn't seem bad to me. I mean, a nigga got on Trump about not staying in the White House enough. Who gives a fuck? This motherfucker was rich. Used to shit in a gold toilet. It's true. I don't know if you've ever been to the White House. It looks like a very nice place to work, but I wouldn't want to live in that Scooby-Doo ass house either. That shit's terrifying looking. Imagine you trying to jerk off in the crib and Abraham Lincoln's just looking at you like... Shit, Bush didn't stay there either. He was rich too. He was like, fuck that, I'm going to my ranch in Texas. Obama was the first motherfucker to move into the White House like, this is a nice place. Look at this rug. The media got on him about putting Jared Kushner in his cabinet, and I didn't think that that was the worst thing he'd done. I mean, it was still early, and I mean, it's not unprecedented. Kennedy had his brother as the attorney general, right? And this motherfucker's a Washington outsider. To be honest with you, I'd probably do the same thing. As a matter of fact, I do. You think I go to a Hollywood meeting with all them white folks by myself? I bring my nigga Mac Mittens from the streets. I don't even know his real name. Everybody just calls him Mac Mittens. But I know he's not qualified to even listen to these meetings, but this motherfucker just makes me feel good. And all the white people look at me like, Dave, do you mind asking your friend Mac Mittens to excuse us so that we can talk business? And I say, fuck that. Anything you say to me, Mac Mittens can hear that shit. And he listened to the whole meeting. And when they done talking, I just look over at Mac Mittens, and if he gives me the signal, meow, meow, I'll sign the papers. It's a gut check. Or how about this one? Remember when it was the day after the election, and the president of Taiwan called Donald Trump to congratulate him? And Donald Trump, you know, of course, took the call and talked to the president of Taiwan. Problem with that was, Taiwan doesn't have a president. The United States functions on what they call a one China policy, and Taiwan is a renegade province of said China. And Donald Trump didn't know that and picked up the phone and started yammering away, and the media ate his ass up. And I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing like shit. I was like, oh shit, this dumb motherfucker is in trouble. And then that night, I was in bed drifting off to sleep, and then I had to admit it to myself. I was like, I didn't know that shit either. And then I realized the media got the story wrong. The story wasn't that Donald Trump took the call. The biggest story is that nobody told Donald Trump not to take the call. That's terrifying. God damn, nigga, you don't have a Mac Mittens on your team? It wasn't like they were calling the White House, they were calling the switchboard at Trump Towers, and they were getting through. Anybody. Mr. President, there's a Ricky Ticky Tabby on the phone for you? Yes, put him through. Hello, Ricky Ticky. Good to talk to you. Mr. President, there's a John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith on the phone. Oh, his name is my name too. Put him through. Hello, John Jacob, let's talk business. How many people in this room are not originally from the United States? My round of applause. Where are you from, bro? You right there. Iraq. You're from Iraq? Ew. I was fucking around. How long have you been here in the country? 23 years. 23 years? Are you a citizen yet? You are? Congratulations, nigga, congratulations. Well, welcome to this great land. You know, I'm gonna give you a history lesson, because I'm sure this wasn't on your entry exam. But every naturalized American has heard something about what I'm about to tell you. A picture is the early 50s in the United States. This 14-year-old boy goes down from Chicago to Mississippi to meet his extended family for the first time. He'd never been to Mississippi. And before he went, his mother said to him, very pointedly, she said, if a white man looks you in your eyes in Mississippi, look away. And I don't know what you know about black people from Chicago, but they're not a scared people. Legend has it, he was in front of a convenience store, hanging out with his cousins, having a good time, and a white woman walked out of the store, and he thought she was pretty, and he said, bye, baby, not realizing that he had just made a fatal mistake. 4 days later, a group of adult white men burst into this family's home and snatched a 14-year-old boy out of bed in front of his family that was powerless to stop them, and he was never seen alive again. His name was Emmett Till. They found his body maybe a few days later. It was in a creek, tied to a wheel so it would sink, horribly beaten and bloated. Hideous. And lucky for everybody in America, his mother was a fucking gangster. She was. If you can imagine, in the very midst of a mother's worst nightmare, this woman had the foresight to think about everybody. She said, leave my son's casket open. She said, the world needs to see what they did to my baby. And every publication here in the United States, from Jet magazine all the way to the New York Times, had this boy's horribly bloated body on its cover. And if our civil rights movement was a car, this boy's dead body was premium gas. This was a very definitive moment in American history where every thinking and feeling person was like, ugh, we gotta do better than this. And they fought beautifully, and here we all are. Oh yeah, you kids don't know. Your generation is just determined to be angry, mad. Everybody's mad. Back when we were growing up, only black people were mad. Now, everybody's just trying to get in on the act. I try to think to myself, well, when did everyone get mad? And then I realized this happened before we were born. This is a long way to go, but probably started in the Second World War. Think about it. All these black men, millions of black men, leave the United States for the first time, go over to Europe with America's armed forces, and fight the Nazis and make more money fighting Nazis than they ever dreamed they would make in the United States. And a lot of those men, while they were in Europe, just to be real, not to be crass, a lot of them probably got their dick sucked by white women. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this was World War II Europe, and these were desperate times, and penises were being sucked for shoelaces and chocolate and very frivolous things. And it's very hard to come back to America and sit on the back of the bus after you've been in the south of France getting your dick sucked for a Crunch Bar or some crazy shit like that. That's a life-changing experience. And while that was happening in Europe, here in America, for the first time, women entered the workforce en masse by the millions. All the men were gone. Someone had to run the factory. The ladies did it. That's right. This was the first generation of American women to have independent income in mass. And when the men came back, the women weren't the same. American women had grown. They were uttering phrases that no woman on earth had ever spoken before. Things like no and shut the fuck up and I don't feel like it. And then behind the scenes of that, there was a little-known government agency that started testing mind-controlled drugs on the American public. They fucked up. They tested it for 12 years. They didn't realize these drugs were not mind-controlling. They were mind-expanding. It was LSD and mescaline and shit like that. And for the first time, there was a new school of thought that was chemically induced that made people question the very society they lived in. By 1960, the President of the United States was only 42 years old. Can you imagine? DMX is older than that. And he was gonna usher in a new era of peace. He was gonna avoid the Cold War. He was gonna end segregation. And they blew his fucking brains out in front of everyone in Dallas. This country was never the same. There were 7 more major assassinations in the 60s. Anyone that stood up and said anything was shot down in the streets like a fucking dog. Kennedy, King, X, Evers, on and on. You didn't even have to be famous. You could be a college student at Kent State or in Mississippi protesting the Vietnam War, and they shot them too. The 70s were a wild era, and while all this was going on, Bill Cosby raped 54 people. Holy shit, that's a lot of rapes, man. This guy's putting up real numbers. He's like the Steph Curry of rape. Man, that's a lot of rapes. 54. He had raped 30 less people. That's still 24 rapes. Don't forget, each one of these rapes has 8 hours of sleep in it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's over 400 hours of rape. It only takes 65 hours to get a pilot's license. If rapes were aircrafts, this nigga's Top Gun for sure. Yeah, that's a tough one. You know, and I was on stage not too long ago. I was in Syracuse, New York. Yeah, well, yeah, for Syracuse, but the show didn't go so good. All because I was talking about Bill Cosby a little bit. Not a little bit, I'll be honest. Talked about him for like maybe 25 minutes. And a woman stood up in the back of the room and she screamed out, "You are a fucking asshole for saying these things." I know. Instantly, I felt, like bad. Not bad about what I was saying. I just felt bad, like, oh, that's too bad she doesn't like the show. I didn't realize it at first. But not only did she say that, she was rushing the stage. By the time I saw her, I just saw this shadowy figure fucking charging up the aisle towards me in full fight mode. I was horrified. I said, oh my God. I'm gonna kick this bitch in the face. Lucky for me, I didn't have to. Security tackled her, but it was a really fucking horrifying scene. Scuffle ensued, and then, finally, she screamed out to me, "Women suffer." I said, I know. And ladies, I need you to know that I know. I need you to know, seriously, there's a lot of men in this room that identify themselves as feminists. I would include myself in that. Don't ever forget, we all have mothers and daughters and sisters and wives, and we want to see all these women do well and not be held back by their gender. There's a lot of men like that in this room. There's a lot of men like that in the world, or as we are known on the streets, bitch-ass niggas. But as this woman was wrestling and screaming at me, I started to take offense. And I'm gonna be honest, race was involved. She was a young white woman. Well-intentioned, but it's like not thinking it all the way through. Bitch, how the fuck are you going to yell at a black man about discrimination? She didn't get it. She just kept going. Women suffer. I know. Women suffer. Same team. Women suffer. I know. And this is where she went too far. We suffer just like you. Slow your roll, bitch. You suffer, yes, but not like me. Not like us. She goes, suffering is suffering. What's the difference? I said, come on, white woman, you know what it is. You was in on the heist, you just don't like your cut. You suffer, I suffer. You suffer, I suffer. That's how it works. Can't do comparative suffering. If you're hungry and your friend says, people are starving in Africa, so what, nigga? I still want lunch. Black people know about comparative suffering, and you know this is a fucking dead-end game. Blacks and Jews do that shit to each other all the time. You ever played Who Suffer More with a Jewish person? It's a tough game. Whenever you think you got the Jewish guy on the ropes, that motherfucker will be like, well, don't forget about Egypt. Egypt? God damn, nigga, I didn't know he was going all the way back to Egypt. What the fuck is wrong with? What does she think? Does she think that I don't know that rape is wrong? Does she think that maybe I don't have empathy for Bill Cosby's alleged victims? And I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that technically these are all still allegations, although I admit it looks very bad. But perhaps, if she looked at it correctly, she would have empathy for me, the man she was attacking. 42-year-old black comedian. Obviously, Bill Cosby was a hero to me. And she doesn't know what it feels like to think that your hero might have done something so heinous. My God, you can't imagine. It'd be as if you heard that chocolate ice cream itself had raped 54 people. You'd say to yourself, oh man, but I like chocolate ice cream. I don't want it to rape. Didn't want to believe it. At first, I didn't believe it. I was like, man, these people are obviously trying to destroy Dr. Cosby's rich legacy. Even 34 allegations into it, I was still like, man, probably only raped 10 or 11 of those people. I know, but it's really tough. You know, you guys are young, so imagine if you found out 40 years from now that Kevin Hart raped 54 people. You'd be like, oh. The only one that would believe that would be Cat Williams. He'd be like, I knew that motherfucker was up to something. I knew Kevin raped something. That's fuck. You know, I was mad at Kevin too, though. You know why? You know why? Okay, first of all, I didn't even know Kevin was as successful as he was. I found that shit out the hard way. I was at home and my son busted and he said, Dad, I need $250. He's only 12 years old, so I freaked out. What's going on, nigga? Somebody trying to kill you? He said, no. Kevin Hart's coming to town and I wanted to see his show. I said, well, how much are the tickets? He said, they're $125. I said, God damn, mine are only $80. I said, well, why do you need $250 then? He goes, because I want to go with you, Dad, please. And there it is. So I took him to the show. And we sit right up front, the lights go down, and one opening act after another goes on. Then Kevin takes the stage, crowd goes fucking nuts. Thousands of people. I was furious. The longer the show went on, the madder I got. Because his show was fucking outstanding. It was maddening. These people were fucking holding their stomachs. My son was slapping his knee. I'm like, oh, nigga, I do this too.
People always say to me, man, Chapelle show looked like a blast. Was it fun? It wasn't. It wasn't fun at all. It was hard. We'd have to stay awake for 48 hours at a time just to keep up with the schedule. We were bombed out and depleted. We were lumped up. We both had erectile dysfunction. I told Dave about mine, and he goes, it's because we're using laptops too much, man. And then he goes, plus we're not as young as we used to be. Meanwhile, there's no causal link between laptop use and erectile dysfunction. And also, we were 29. Dave Chapelle completely transformed my life. He lent me $1,000 so I could move to LA. He asked me to write a movie with him when I had zero experience. Dave Chapelle believed in me at a time when absolutely nobody did. You know, we all have a friend who will hit us up out of the blue sometimes for something funny. Imagine what his texts and phone calls are like. One time he called me on a Tuesday afternoon and he goes, "Hey man, I just finished watching 12 Years a Slave. Anyhow, you think slaves ever whip their kids?" On a Tuesday afternoon. In closing, if you remember only one thing from my speech tonight, I hope that its Chapelle show was not fun. But it was great, and it will be near impossible to beat, and it's because of that guy right there.
Well, this has been fucking wonderful. I don't know what to say, man. I don't even want this night to end. I promise you, whoever cares the most, I care at least as much as them. I know what I got, because I lost it all. I gotta tell you something, and I don't talk about it often. Have you ever worked all your life for something and have it not work out? That happened to me. It was tough. Think about it. I was gone for 12 years. It's not a little bit of time. It was hell. I watched other niggas that I knew become very famous. I watched the world go on without me. I mourned the loss of it, and after a while, I didn't care. Coming back was terrifying. I understand what I am. I really do, more than anybody. Like when they write about me in history, I'll be dead reading it like, yeah, I knew they'd say that. They say that a person can't dream of a face they've never seen. Can't believe that's true, but it's probably true. Boy, I got a long bank of faces. 32 years, I could close my eyes, I could think of any night. There's so many faces. Every night, most nights, they're all looking up, smiling. You have no idea what the world looks like from there. All different races, all different colors, all different kind of beliefs, just looking at me, smiling for 32 years, night after night. No comedian take that for granted. I swear to God, this might be the noblest of professions. Robin Williams had a bar that I loved. He said, comedy is the only job you can have where you can use everything you know. And that's true. You can use more than you know. You can use what you think. Use it. Don't be afraid. Don't let these bitch-ass niggas button your lip. Say it anyway.
If you're at home watching, not knowing what to make of this because you haven't checked Twitter yet to see how you feel, you can... No.
Ladies and gentlemen, the incomparable John Legend.
Not only am I a big fan of Dave's, but I grew up in Springfield, Ohio. Yes. About 15 minutes away from where Dave lives now and spent a lot of his childhood. I know we're in D.C., and he spent a lot of time here too. But Dave is from Ohio, okay? We're claiming him. Most of the outstanding, bold-faced names from Ohio become famous after they leave Ohio. One could argue they have to leave Ohio to succeed. But amazingly, Dave still lives in the Buckeye State. He still lives in the tiny town. He lives in a so-called forgotten town. Dave never forgot. He's brought the world
creative director of hip hop here at the Kennedy Center. I want to talk to my bro, my friend. You my brother. I love you. I've known this dude since he first started, and it was 1992 or 3, and he came on the bus, and he's like, I'm Dave Chapelle. I was like, yo, you're Dave Chapelle. I know who you are. I saw Robin Hood Men in Tights. And I'm probably the only rapper that was watching Mel Brooks back then.
I bought Dave his first suit when he did Letterman in 1995.
Wow.
Might have been 94. I took him to Barney's with my cousin. Wow. Because he was still wearing cross colors.
Now, don't tense up on me. I don't want you guys to think I'm like an angry black guy. I am an angry black guy, but you know what I mean? I have a right to be an angry black guy, though. It's different for me. See, I don't know if you guys believe in reincarnation or not, but I have been black 4 lives in a row. I need a break.